Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another edition of the Monie Podcast. I am your girl, Monie, and I hope you're feeling blessed. I hope you're feeling protected and covered today. We're in the Christmas season, and it's a time that brings joy for some, heaviness for others, and reflection for all of us. So today, I want to talk about something that's been really sitting on my chest, on my spirit: rebuilding. A few days ago, I came across a post that said, rock bottom is still a foundation. And honestly, that really hit me. It made me really, really think. Because 3 years ago, I was praying for the peace I'm living in right now. I couldn't see it. I couldn't feel it. Life wasn't lifing the way I needed it to. And yet, here I am. So today's episode is about gratitude and grind, about rebuilding when life falls apart, and about trusting that good things really are coming, even when you just don't see it. So let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about my rebuilding story. Currently, I work in a fast-paced work environment, and sometimes the job, it's stressful. It's almost, it's hard to get through sometimes. Oftentimes, I find myself collapsing. So when you get through some of those things, I go through some of those, different channels, you kind of feel, I just want to give up. So I want to talk about juggling the 9 to 5, feeling tired or stretched or overwhelmed, maybe even supporting your family. I also want to talk about a personal situation, um, maybe feeling attacked, family wise or outside attack coming into your family. I want to talk about starting this podcast with barely any energy, just pure faith. Also, some of the trials and tribulations and some of the little stuff you go through when guests cancel or no shows or discouragement, yet I'm able to pull through. And I'm still praying through spiritual attacks. You all know, some of you guys who are deeply rooted have been through some of those spiritual attacks. There are days where, you know, I'm working and then I rush into a situation at work or encounter a customer or a client. And sometimes I'm operating on 0 hours of sleep. Oftentimes my body breaks down, my heart feels heavy, my eyes are burning, and I keep thinking, God, I can't do this much longer. Juggling the job and juggling a podcast. Most of you guys know that I have a charity. That's that feeling of burned out. So oftentimes I just feel to collapse and just give up. You know, there were moments when I felt like my confidence just cracked. Moments where I questioned why everything I touched seemed to fall apart. Moments where I felt like everyone needed something from me, but I didn't have anything left for myself. Most of you guys may feel like that. You just keep giving, 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 and no one is ever there to also give to you. Even when life felt broken, I didn't realize God was still building in the background, in the scenes. And those are some of the moments when you get quiet and you get still and you listen. You listen to the voice of God just speaking to you and letting you know that He's there. He has you. In the last couple of days, I haven't felt that. I've just been feeling, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. But I just want you to remind yourself that He's there and you can always speak to Him. And that's something that I'm learning to tap more into. Let's talk about rock bottom. It's a foundation. You know, that quote, it really sticks out to me. Rock bottom is still a foundation. I want to talk about the year that I lost my peace. I want to say it was around 2010, 2013. You know, most of you guys know my story, just going through the battles of depression, anxiety, and I totally lost my peace when I decided I wanted to just end it all. Slowly had to take the time to rebuild. And that's why this statement just stands out to me when it says rock bottom is still a foundation. Because although I was at the bottom, I still was slowly trying to get everything together and build myself back up. So just hold on to that. Rock bottom is still a foundation. Some of the spiritual attacks that I feel that's just going on, I've seen it in my family. Little things such as losing a job, incidents, accidents that just happen, and they're just repetitive, one after the other. And you have to say, God, what is going on? What is happening with my family? You know, at the center of it all, you still have to realize that God is in control. So that's another example of rock bottom, because you never know. Sometimes you're being shaken up for something, you're being moved to go into a different direction. Let's talk about being financially stretched. Most of you guys can relate to this one. Financially stretched. Sometimes you just don't know where the next paycheck, the next money's coming from. There's a lot of expenses, unexpected expenses that just pop up, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't have the money to do this. I don't have the means to accomplish that. I can't. And sometimes being financially stretched allows you to reevaluate your circumstances and realize what needs to cut off, what can you cut back on. And that's one thing that I've started to do. For example, this is a small one, but I'm paying $27 for Netflix. I don't know about y'all, but I looked at that like, do I really need this? Maybe I can cut back on that. You know, it's a entertainment area that, you know, I really enjoy. But I had to look at that. I have Netflix, I have Crave, I have Disney, and I'm like, okay, one of them's got to go. So being financially stressed is when you look at your overall picture and just realize what stays, what goes, what's most important in this time. So just want you guys to take a look at your financial situation and reevaluate. Feeling alone in your journey. And that could be your journey in your singleness, your journey with Christ, your journey as you go through your work day, your school days. I often feel alone. And I look at it as a form of rock bottom, because it's almost like I'm going back into the past, living back where I was just isolating myself from the world, isolating myself from everyone. But feeling alone in your journey is normal. And it's not something that you have to settle in. You don't have to stay in that phase. I want you to know that you can come out of that box, explore, engage, and have that one friend that you can call and speak to and just let them know how you're feeling. I have a friend that whenever I feel alone, I just call her and let her know I feel a relapse. I feel a relapse. I feel a relapse. It's coming. And she just lets me know what triggered it. She talks me through and say, why did you feel like that? What was the trigger? Why do you feel alone? And when I explain to her what it is and we tap into those sources, I'm able to evaluate my situation and rebuild myself and know that I'm not alone. I got this. I know some of the things that I may say sounds easy, But trust me, I've lived it, I've been in it, and I'm just sharing things that's worked for me in hopes that it works for you as well. You know, you have to be able to just shift to hope, shift your mind. Rock bottom taught me something. It taught me how to listen, and that's one of the key things, how to listen to the voice of God, how to listen to, your intuition and move in the right direction, not to be jumpy, but to be still and to listen. It taught me how to slow down. I was always going. I'm a person that minimal patience. I just wanted things done now, here and now. So hitting rock bottom taught me to slow down and just not expect things to happen so fast. Because as they say, when you get something fast, you lose it fast as well. It also taught me how to lean into God instead of forcing things in my own strength. And I found that I was drifting. There were days when I wouldn't even talk to God. I wouldn't even pick up the Bible, read a few scripture. I was just doing things on my own terms, and hitting rock bottom made me realize, hey, you can't do this on your own. I needed him. So that's something I want to encourage you to lean in to the voice of God and not to force doing anything on your own strength. And even when I felt broken, I was never abandoned. Never abandoned. So, for those of you that feel broken, just know that you may be broken, but you are not destroyed. Broken, but you are still here. You're in that phase of rebuilding. You're at the foundation that you're going to build from the bottom up. Up. Speaking of rebuilding, let's talk about what that looks like. Let's be real. Rebuilding isn't pretty, but it's powerful. All right. So, what that means is you got to set some boundaries if you're going to rebuild. Things that you used to do, you can no longer do that anymore. People that you used to hang with that came into your circle that mess with your peace, you can't. You have to minimize those interactions. So you have to learn boundaries. What do boundaries look like for you? Boundaries for me, especially, I found I was just giving. You have to let individuals know that they have to respect your peace. If you're helping someone out, you have to get to a point where you're like, okay, I know I helped you out last month, but can't do it this month. Boundaries. And you have to be comfortable with saying no. That's something that I'm learning. I'm learning to say no, full stop. Before it was no because no. And that's it. Rebuilding isn't pretty, but it's powerful. That also involves letting go of people who only show up for convenience. Y'all know what that is. Y'all know how that looks. You may have an event or you're doing something and you only see people just pass through just for that season. But deep inside, when you need them the most, they're nowhere to be found. So that's something you also need to tap into and look into, letting go of those individuals who only show up for convenience. Next one is being okay with cancellations, even though they hurt. I've been through a lot of that. I used to take them personal. Even for the podcast, when people cancel, I was like, why did they do that? I looked at it different, having lunch with a friend and you're on your way to the restaurant and you get that text message, sorry, not going to make it, something came up. And you kind of look at it like, but we planned this for so long. Was I not worth the connection? So you have to be okay with cancellations. Realize that life happens. Other people have situations that they're going through. And You have to be okay with it, even though it may hurt, but not take it personally. Choosing yourself. It's very important to choose yourself, or else you're going to get burnt out. You have to put yourself in the forefront and realize that you matter, you deserve love, you deserve respect. Remember, rebuilding isn't pretty, but it's powerful. Once you make that statement that you're choosing yourself, respect comes your way, and people will be able to treat you the way you want to be treated. Growing confidence as a host. Let me tell you, this journey as a podcast host has been something that I have to say, it's built my confidence. A lot of guests tell me that, you make it so easy, you make me feel comfortable, you make me feel confident. And little do they know, they do the same thing for me. So we're both feeding off each other's energy. But I find it's something that I have to keep tapping into. I have to keep going because I just don't know whose life I'm changing, who needs to hear what I'm saying. So my confidence, it's growing, and I hope to be able to touch lives and encourage people through this podcast to let them know that you matter. You deserve to be here. Becoming softer but stronger. That's a big one. Becoming softer just means you're tapping more into who you are. I find I was a little bit, doing things fast, always fast, and get aggravated easily. I have to tone that down and just be able to catch myself in the middle of those things and just be stronger and realize that you can get through these things without being aggravated or let people think that you're being rude or disrespectful. So there's a way you can show representation for yourself by being softer. As they say, you're in the soft girl era. And I think that's where I'm at. Show the softer side. And rebuilding can make you braver. It's almost like you're creating a clean slate for yourself, building from the bottom. It makes you braver because you're not sure exactly where you're going, what to expect, what's coming, but you just know that it's going to be an environment of newness. You just know it's going to be an encounter of new people, new interaction, and you brace yourself for that. You prepare yourself for that. And you just become brave and bold and step into it. Rebuilding isn't cute. It's not Instagrammable. It's messy, frustrating, and humbling. But it's also powerful because every time something falls apart, I learned who I was without it. So I want you to hold on to that. Hold on to just knowing who you are without some of the elements that you have in your life. How does Christmas tie in? Christmas, it's a season of reflection, not perfection. Christmas. Most of you guys who know me know that Christmas makes me very sad. I don't know what it is. It's something that myself and my therapist, we've been talking about it for some time now. And she's like, what exactly is it that makes you sad? I don't know if it's the music. I don't know if it's the fact that I'm not getting a lot of presents, or that, Christmas often makes me feel like I'm broke, you know. But there's something about Christmas that just makes me sad. Just want you to realize that Christmas is not just gifts, it's grace. And I had to realize that basically each Christmas I go through it with my family. Most of the time my family goes away for Christmas, but I realize it's not just about gifts, it's about grace as you go through it, because you don't always have to expect a gift and you don't always have to give. I find it's a time to surround yourself with family, friends, and loved ones. Many people pretend that they're okay during the holidays, but they're not. Christmas has been shown to really have a lot of people feeling isolated. It's one of the biggest holidays that people travel a lot, so a lot of people end up spending it alone. So a lot of people may pretend that they're okay during the holidays, but they're not. And how you can see that is maybe even your close friend, your own family members, it's through a conversation. This is the time where you really have to tap in. You really have to pick up the phone and check in on those individuals, even drive by, stop by, sit with them and have conversations because people pretend well. Christmas can highlight loneliness, it can highlight grief, and financial stress, as I touched on some of these. And these are things that people hide well. So again, when you see it, just know to really just talk to that person and let them know that they're not alone. They can speak to you. Around the Christmas time, those who have lost loved ones, is Christmas is the most is the holiday that they really reflect. Those who have lost their moms, they reflect and say, this is the Christmas that I don't have my mom, you know? So reflection is a big thing around the holidays. And it doesn't have to be a reflection that puts you into depression, makes you feel sad. It can be a reflection of growth, a reflection of change, to realize that you can navigate and move towards the new year in a positive direction. It also reminds us of Emmanuel, the God with us, God in us. As they say, it's the time for us to really draw nearer to Jesus. And as they say, it's his birthday. Tap into your relationship with Christ. Where are you on your walk with Christ? What are some of the things you want to change? So, Christmas is a time to really evaluate that. And my own Christmas reflection this year, I basically want to reflect on where I'm coming from, how I'm no longer there, and where I'm headed. I'm in a season of growth and I want to embrace that and just move forward. And I hope you're in that season as well. This Christmas, I'm not just focused on the perfect tree or the perfect gifts. I'm focused on peace. I'm focused on gratitude and resting in God. Christmas is the perfect time to slow down and realize the same God who carried you through the hardest season is the same God who's going to build and bless your next season. Let's get into you're not delaying, you're being prepared. So, for my listeners, I want to encourage you to rebuild. Rebuild. This is the season for it. Christmas is the time for you to gather everything, your thoughts, align yourself, prepare yourself to rebuild because 2026 is just around the corner. For those starting over, it's a fresh start. You're starting over into something new, new beginnings, new alignment. So look forward and step into that with grace. For those feeling behind, you are not. You are at the head of your game. This is a chance for you to evaluate your circumstance and just realize that new things are coming your way and you need to own it. For those who lost their spark, shine bright like a diamond. You all know that song. But basically, for those who've lost their spark, it's an opportunity for you to get it back. I always look at a new year as a new chapter. When you're reading a book and it just gets better and better and better. So I look at it like a new year, new beginnings. So your spark will be brighter. I thought I was behind in life. I thought things were taking too long, but now I see every delay protected me. Every detour taught me, and every disappointment refined me. Which brings us to a segment of our show called Good Things Are Coming. This is a segment of our show where I want to leave our listeners and our viewers with a positive affirmation to help you get through this week. So, I want you to breathe in, breathe out. You're actually going to help me with this affirmation. You're going to repeat after me. So, good things are coming because peace is coming, breakthrough is coming, healing is coming, my confidence is returning, my joy is returning, God is rebuilding me stronger than before. I receive that. All right. I hope you guys repeated that. Repeat it. Just repeat it throughout the week. Hold on to those words. Stand firm and believe in those words. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If you're in your rebuilding season, please remember you're not late. You're not forgotten. You're not failing. You're being prepared for something your eyes can't see yet. Make sure you subscribe to the Monie Podcast on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Share this episode with someone who's rebuilding, someone who's hurting, someone who needs hope today. And always remember, you are not alone. Enjoy the holiday season with your family, friends, and loved one. Bye for now.